Göbekli Tepe, the 12,000-year-old enigma that rewrote human history. Chiseled into stone lies a structure that challenges everything we know about ancient civilization. In southeastern Turkey, concealed beneath layers of soil for thousands of years, rests Göbekli Tepe, a site so unbelievably old. It predates writing, the Egyptian pyramids, and even humanity's earliest urban settlements. Yet the detailed engravings and colossal stone pillars suggest a sophistication and order far beyond what should have been possible for its time. How was it constructed? Why was it covered up? Let's dive deep into one of the most astonishing archaeological revelations ever found. But here's the contradiction. Göbekli Tepe dates back approximately 12,000 years to around 9,600 BCE. That makes it the oldest known temple complex on Earth, predating England's Stonehenge by over 6 millennia and Egypt's pyramids by more than 7. At that time, humans were presumed to be nomadic foragers, living in small, mobile tribes without agriculture, cities, or the architectural capability for such enormous construction. Some archaeologists believe that the animals engraved on the pillars carried symbolic or religious meanings, perhaps tied to myths or spiritual beliefs. Others think these carvings served as warnings, denoting danger or sacredness. The site's configuration adds another layer of mystery. There is no trace of homes or domestic life, indicating it wasn't a residential area. Instead, experts suggest it served a ceremonial role, potentially as a religious sanctuary or a center for rituals. Some researchers think it may have also been a communal space where early humans gathered for worship, banquets, or perhaps even to track celestial events. The site's possible alignment with stars hints at an astronomical significance, mirroring patterns seen at other ancient megalithic sites across the globe. Yet one of the most puzzling elements is that Göbekli Tepe was intentionally buried. Its enclosures were systematically packed with earth and rubble, as though to protect, conceal, or preserve them. Why was this done? Was the site considered too sacred to remain exposed? Or was it buried for reasons lost to time? Who made the decision to hide it from future generations? One compelling theory is that Göbekli Tepe played a pivotal role in humanity's shift from a nomadic hunter-gatherer lifestyle to one rooted in farming and permanent settlements. Some experts argue that the scale of organization needed to build and sustain the site could have encouraged early forms of cooperative labor, eventually leading to settled communities. In this version of history, religious gathering, rather than agriculture, might have been the true beginning of civilization. Another possibility suggests that Göbekli Tepe was constructed by a sophisticated society that has since been lost to history, a civilization predating the known agricultural revolution. Some researchers link it to theories of a global catastrophe at the end of the last ice age, such as the Younger Dryas impact hypothesis. According to this idea, a comet or asteroid hit Earth around 12,800 years ago, triggering sudden environmental shifts and massive floods. This event may have eradicated an early, advanced culture, leaving behind only enigmatic ruins like Göbekli Tepe as silent witnesses to their forgotten world. Still, another school of thought holds that a group of highly skilled hunter-gatherers built Göbekli Tepe, defying modern assumptions about the capabilities of early humans. Perhaps the expertise needed to create such a monument was passed down through oral tradition or preserved in ways we don't yet comprehend. If Göbekli Tepe is indeed a temple, that would mean humanity's spiritual or religious life began long before agriculture and urbanization. The scale of the project implies collective action, different communities coming together with a shared purpose. But the central mystery remains. What exactly were they worshipping? Some researchers suggest the pillar carvings symbolize constellations, tying the site to the heavens. Others believe it might have functioned as a burial ground or a sacred site where rituals were performed to honor the dead. One of the site's strangest features is the absence of tools and daily use artifacts. Unlike other ancient locations, There are no traces of pottery, housing structures, or domestic utensils. This absence fuels the idea that Göbekli Tepe wasn't meant for ordinary living. It was a special place, built for purposes beyond mere survival. Göbekli Tepe forces historians and archaeologists to rethink the timeline of human development. If people could create something this complex long before the emergence of cities, what else might they have achieved? And if such knowledge already existed 12,000 years ago, where did it originate? Some believe Göbekli Tepe is just the tip of the iceberg. Perhaps more sites, possibly even older, are still waiting to be uncovered, offering new clues to a chapter of human history that has been forgotten or erased. Could this be the missing puzzle piece? A sign of ancient wisdom predating everything we thought we knew? Even after decades of excavation, Göbekli Tepe continues to raise more questions than it answers. Each new layer brings fresh mysteries. As the story of this site unfolds, our understanding of history keeps evolving. Just like the unknown architects of this massive sanctuary, ancient peoples all over the planet have left behind wonders carved from rock, structures so advanced, they baffle us even today. Göbekli Tepe is a powerful reminder. The past hides secrets we never imagined. And sometimes, those secrets aren't hidden in stone, they're locked in manuscripts, their meaning encoded in symbols no one has yet deciphered. Books written centuries ago, filled with puzzles still waiting to be solved. The Hidden Colossus, China's secretive White Pyramid. This tale explores something far more elusive, a gargantuan construct, so meticulously hidden that, even now, its reality remains cloaked in enigma. Deep within China's borders, buried under layers of dirt and dense greenery, lies a colossal pyramid claimed to surpass the grandeur of Egypt's greatest. This monument, purposefully obscured from global awareness, provokes a haunting question. Could it be the final resting place of a forgotten emperor, or is it something beyond comprehension? Let's now unveil the story of the White Pyramid of China. Tucked away in the remote regions of Shanxi province, a series of towering pyramid-like forms has ignited decades of curiosity, cover-ups, and speculation. These formations are not simply hills or quirks of the land, as many might initially believe. They are genuine ancient pyramids, eerie in their resemblance to those seen in Egypt or Mesoamerica, yet they remain veiled in mystery and unfamiliar to most of the modern world. In contrast to the majestic visibility of Giza's Great Pyramids standing tall against arid skies, China's pyramids have been intentionally hidden, veiled by planted forests, masked with earth, and seemingly abandoned to history. At the center of this puzzle lies what is often referred to as the White Pyramid of China, a structure so vast that, if the reports are accurate, it might even eclipse the Great Pyramid of Giza in size. But why has such a monumental edifice been kept in the dark? What secrets might it protect under centuries of concealment? The first widely acknowledged mention of this White Pyramid came in 1945, near the conclusion of World War II. An American Air Force pilot, James Gaussman, while on a reconnaissance mission over China, claimed to spot an immense and brilliant white object rising from the earth below. According to Gaussman, the pyramid appeared to be constructed from a radiant, possibly metallic or stone material that reflected sunlight in a way unlike anything he had encountered. His observations were specific. The pyramid had sleek, perfectly proportioned sides and an estimated height of over 1,000 feet, which, if accurate, would make it much larger than Egypt's largest. Upon returning to base, Gaussman recorded his encounter in detail, even drawing the structure. However, his documentation quickly vanished into classified archives, brushed aside as an unconfirmed anomaly. This report might have disappeared entirely from history if not for another sighting. In 1946 or 1947, yet another American pilot, Colonel Maurice Sheehan, reported observing a similar massive white pyramid while flying over Chinese territory. This time, the story reached the public, appearing in the New York Times. Again, The structure was portrayed as larger than anything known at the time, with gracefully sloping sides and an uncanny, almost alien quality. Despite these striking eyewitness reports, no images from those flights were ever made public. This has led skeptics to question whether the pilots were mistaken or if their findings were intentionally erased from public view. Nevertheless, what we do know is that the region in question is indeed home to numerous ancient pyramid-shaped constructions, most of which remain unexcavated. Unlike Egypt's thoroughly examined monuments, China's pyramids have been deliberately kept out of the spotlight. Very few have been studied extensively, and even fewer acknowledged officially. The Chinese authorities have been notably hesitant to allow outside researchers into these areas. Many believe this secrecy is not incidental. These pyramids, including the fabled White Pyramid, are thought to be tombs of ancient emperors, some dating back to the Western Han Dynasty and possibly even earlier. Much like Egypt's pharaohs, these rulers were buried with immense treasures, intricate chambers, and precious artifacts designed for use in the afterlife. One prominent example is the mausoleum of Emperor Qin Shi Huang near Shen, home to the world-renowned terracotta army. Yet even this tomb, one of humanity's richest archaeological sites, remains sealed. Archaeologists are wary of opening it, citing dangers posed by the high levels of toxic mercury reportedly present. Some experts suggest the White Pyramid could represent an even grander resting place, perhaps for a ruler whose identity is now lost to time. The hesitation to dig into these structures may stem from a blend of preservation concerns and deep-rooted cultural reverence. Chinese officials often claim that premature excavation risks irreversible harm. Others suspect the motivations run deeper, that there may be elements within these sites the government does not wish the world to discover. Among the more controversial theories is the notion that the White Pyramid may be proof of a technologically advanced civilization predating known history. Some even speculate on extraterrestrial involvement, inspired by descriptions of the structure's unnaturally smooth surface and mirror-like reflectivity. While such claims are highly speculative, they persist, largely because access to the site remains off-limits. Today, satellite imagery clearly reveals the presence of multiple large, pyramid-shaped structures across the region. Some are blanketed in thick forest, others barely distinguishable from the surrounding terrain. These aerial snapshots offer enticing hints, yet in the absence of direct study, their true nature remains unresolved. Further fueling the mystery are local legends. Generations of villagers have spoken of strange events in the vicinity. Some recount sightings of mysterious lights near the mounds after dark. Others mention long-standing warnings passed down through the ages, advising people to steer clear of the ancient hills. Are these just fables? Or could something truly unknown lie entombed beneath these mounds, something today's science has yet to encounter? A number of historians posit that these pyramids may house lost chronicles, scrolls, or cultural treasures capable of transforming our grasp of early Chinese civilization. Unlike Egypt, where hieroglyphs provide a detailed window into the past, much of China's ancient written history has vanished, often during eras of upheaval. If any of these sealed pyramids preserve ancient scripts or items from millennia ago, they might unlock secrets from a forgotten epoch of humanity. Whether the White Pyramid exists, as described by the wartime pilots, remains one of the greatest unanswered questions in archaeology. Despite numerous appeals by independent investigators to study the area, Chinese authorities have consistently blocked excavation efforts. Whether this is driven by national preservation policies, strategic decisions, or a desire to shield deeper truths is unknown and may never be revealed. One thing is certain: these pyramids are real, and their mysteries lie dormant beneath centuries of earth. If the legendary White Pyramid truly stands among them, it may well be one of the most significant archaeological revelations of all time, or it may forever remain an enigma concealed by both nature and intent. The sealed shadow tomb of Alexandria, what truly lay within. Deep in the bustling core of Alexandria, a centuries-old enigma remained entombed, a mysterious jet-black coffin, sealed tight for over 2 millennia. When it was finally pried open in 2018, no one could have foreseen the strange truth awaiting inside. Let's unravel the tale of the enigmatic black coffin of Alexandria. Beneath the ever-active streets of Alexandria, Egypt, a 2018 excavation stunned the globe. A colossal dark granite sarcophagus, untouched and hermetically sealed for more than 2,000 years, was unearthed during routine construction. Unlike the lavish tombs typically associated with pharaohs, this one was stark, ominous, and without any markings, its presence undisturbed since antiquity. It was the largest sealed coffin ever recovered from the city, and no one had the faintest idea what lay inside. There were guesses. Some imagined it might house the long-lost remains of Alexander the Great. Others theorized it belonged to a forgotten dignitary or military commander. But once opened, the contents revealed a far stranger narrative than anyone had imagined. Alexandria has long held the aura of a city steeped in mystery. Established by Alexander himself in 331 BCE, much of its ancient foundations now lie buried beneath modern buildings or sunken into the Mediterranean Sea. Yet occasionally, secrets lost to time find their way back to light. The black sarcophagus surfaced during basic groundwork in the City Geber neighborhood, a district known for its archaeological value. As soon as workers struck something hard below the earth, it became apparent this was no ordinary debris. Another thought, however, cast a shadow over the excitement, the age-old belief that disturbing ancient graves can trigger misfortune. From the fabled curse of the pharaohs to strange deaths linked to other tomb openings, such eerie notions have persisted through the ages. Some residents even warned that tampering with the sarcophagus might awaken something ancient and malevolent. Despite ominous murmurs, the excavation pressed forward. The possibility of unveiling a major historic breakthrough was too tempting to ignore, and the world watched closely. Opening the sarcophagus, however, proved to be a serious logistical challenge. The granite lid alone was estimated to weigh over 15 tons, demanding heavy machinery to even shift it. As it was finally lifted, a putrid stench burst forth from the sealed chamber. Inside, instead of golden relics or a preserved royal figure, the researchers uncovered something grim, a pool of foul, reddish fluid and the skeletal remains of 3 people. The strange liquid turned out to be a mixture of groundwater and liquefied organic matter, the result of centuries of slow decomposition, creating a revolting slurry. These missing pieces only magnified the enigma. Who were these 3 individuals? Why were they entombed in such an enormous, blank sarcophagus? And what was the reason behind the extreme sealing efforts? As news of the discovery broke, wild ideas circulated. Some individuals claimed the liquid within had mystical attributes, even requesting to drink it in pursuit of magical powers. Others proposed the burial was part of an obscure ancient ceremony, possibly an unsuccessful preservation attempt or even a form of punishment. More grounded theories suggested the trio might have been high-status military leaders or aristocrats. The sheer scale of the coffin implied importance, yet the lack of traditional funerary practices hinted at something unconventional. One speculation was that they may have died abruptly, perhaps in a plague or during combat, necessitating a hasty burial without formal rituals. Another possibility is that the coffin was initially meant for a prominent figure, but was later reused for a communal burial. Despite all the theorizing, definitive answers remained elusive. The bones were taken for in-depth analysis, and the sarcophagus was transported for conservation. Though it did not house Alexander the Great, it still stands as one of the most bizarre archaeological finds in recent memory. Its enormous size, unsettling contents, and unexplained secrecy make it an unparalleled discovery. And while Egypt continues to yield ancient wonders, This shadowy tomb remains one of its most compelling and cryptic chapters. The disappearance of the Clovis Civilization, America's ancient enigma. This enigma doesn't revolve around a lone relic or a mysterious manuscript. It's about an entire ancient society that thrived for millennia and then abruptly vanished. A culture that once flourished across vast lands, only to leave behind fragments and one haunting question. What led to the disappearance of the Clovis civilization? The Clovis culture represents one of the most perplexing mysteries in the ancient history of North America. Originating roughly 13,000 years ago, it stands as one of the earliest civilizations ever known on the continent. The Clovis people were exceptional hunters, renowned for their unique Clovis points, spear tips made with precision and skill. These tools, fashioned from stone and flint, are so technologically refined that they point to a society with shared techniques, widespread exchange systems, and profound environmental knowledge. For generations, experts believe the Clovis were the first inhabitants of the Americas, having crossed the Bering land bridge from what is now Siberia. And then, suddenly, they were gone. Their presence in the archaeological timeline vanished with no clear warning or reason. What caused an entire ancient people to disappear without a trace? The Clovis culture came into focus in the early 1900s when their distinctive spearheads were unearthed in Clovis, New Mexico, giving the civilization its name. These tools were found alongside the remains of Ice Age creatures such as mammoths and bison, suggesting the Clovis were adept at hunting large game and survived in the harsh, frozen landscapes of the late Ice Age. As more discoveries emerged from across the United States, Canada, and even South America, it became evident that this wasn't a small or localized community. The Clovis people were a vast and thriving culture with signs of mobility and resilience. Then, about 12,800 years ago, their archaeological trail abruptly ends. There are no clear signs of violence, no mass starvation, no visible catastrophe. It's as though their entire way of life disappeared in an instant, leaving only scattered relics and unanswered questions. For decades, this mystery has puzzled scholars, giving rise to several competing theories. One of the most compelling ideas is the Younger Dryas impact hypothesis. This proposes that a comet or asteroid struck North America roughly 12,800 years ago, leading to drastic environmental upheaval. The proposed impact is thought to have ignited widespread fires across the continent, releasing enough debris into the atmosphere to trigger a swift return to glacial conditions. This sudden and severe climatic change, known as the Younger Dryas, could have decimated food chains and led to the extinction of major prey animals, unraveling the fabric of Clovis society. Supporting this theory is a curious geological feature known as the black mat, a dark, thin sediment layer rich in carbon, found at Clovis sites. Within it are nanodiamonds, which some researchers believe resulted from a celestial impact. If this theory holds, the Clovis might be the first known human society to fall to a global calamity. An alternative theory suggests that the Clovis people didn't vanish entirely, but instead evolved. Some researchers propose that following the extinction of large Ice Age animals like mastodons and mammoths, the Clovis were forced to adapt, turning to smaller prey and adopting new survival strategies. These changes might have led to the rise of newer cultures, such as the Folsom people, who appear in the archaeological record not long after the Clovis disappear. According to this view, the Clovis didn't disappear, they transformed, leaving behind their old identity and blending into something new. But a darker possibility exists, that an unknown catastrophe wiped them out. Some scientists highlight the timing of massive prehistoric animal extinctions around the same period, the disappearance of saber-toothed cats, giant sloths, and mammoths. This has led to the suggestion that whatever destroyed these species may have also doomed the Clovis, be it disease, environmental disaster, or clashes with other human populations. Despite the abundance of ideas, The fate of the Clovis people remains one of archaeology's most enduring enigmas. Were they overwhelmed by sudden climate shifts? Did a cosmic catastrophe spell their doom? Or did they slowly assimilate into emerging cultures, their legacy surviving under new names and new ways of life? And sometimes, what they leave behind tells a story more powerful than we ever imagined. The drowned temples of Mahabalipuram, India's forgotten maritime sanctuaries. Beneath the ocean's surface lies a hidden architectural marvel, a string of once glorious temples that stood proudly along the Indian coastline before mysteriously vanishing. Legend tells of 7 awe-inspiring pagodas, their towering spires reaching toward the heavens and captivating all who beheld them. Yet, divine wrath provoked by their magnificence is said to have summoned a catastrophic flood, sparing only one structure. That lone survivor, the shore temple, still graces the edge of the sea, a magnificent monument shaped by centuries of salty breeze and ocean spray. But was it truly just one piece of a much grander sacred compound? For generations, historians debated whether this story was simply folklore, a myth handed down over time with no factual foundation. Then, everything changed in 2004. That year, one of the most devastating tsunamis in recent memory surged through the Indian Ocean, transforming coastlines and altering geography. When the waters rolled back from the shores of Mahabalipuram, a stunning revelation emerged. Massive stone artifacts, columns, chiseled stones, and what looked like temple bases were suddenly laid bare, visible for the first time in hundreds of years. Eyewitnesses described grand walls and ornate carvings that seemed untouched by centuries of submersion. This extraordinary find instantly drew the attention of archaeologists and marine scientists. Underwater missions were launched to delve into the submerged remains. What these teams uncovered confirmed that an ancient structure indeed lay beneath the surf. Divers found multiple sunken ruins, some appearing in deliberate patterns. Decorated stone fragments, meticulously carved relics, and indicators of human-built foundations implied that a once thriving settlement or temple complex had stood here, only to be devoured by the sea. Some remnants were located hundreds of meters from the current shoreline, hidden beneath layers of sediment and aquatic life. This discovery sent shockwaves through the archaeological community. The idea that entire towns or religious sites could exist beneath the sea shifted from fantasy to fact. What caused Mahabalipuram's temples to disappear? One hypothesis is that a colossal natural event, perhaps a tsunami or a slow but steady rise in sea levels, consumed the area over time. Because Mahabalipuram rests on the vulnerable Bay of Bengal, it's prone to erosion and flooding. Some scholars suggest that rather than vanishing in a single event, the temples were gradually claimed by the ocean across centuries, with only the shore temple left as a symbol of the past. Another theory links these lost shrines to Kumari Kandam, a mythical submerged landmass akin to Atlantis, mentioned in ancient Tamil tales. These legends tell of a sophisticated civilization destroyed by a massive deluge. Though there's no hard evidence of such a continent, the lore continues to intrigue, leading some to propose that Mahabalipuram's sunken temples were once part of a much larger, now lost world. Some experts also suggest that these structures may have been purposefully deserted as new dynasties rose and focus shifted elsewhere. Over time, exposure to natural disasters like storms and earthquakes, combined with encroaching tides, may have worn them down until they slowly disappeared into the sea. Yet, one of the most captivating elements of the Seven Pagodas legend is the possibility that more structures still lie submerged, well preserved beneath the ocean, just beyond our current reach. The 2004 tsunami provided only a fleeting glimpse of what might lie hidden. Since then, dynamic ocean currents and drifting sands have again obscured many of the revealed artifacts. Underwater archaeology is still a growing discipline. Advances in technology, including sonar scanning and remotely operated vehicles, might one day enable researchers to fully chart Mahabalipuram's submerged secrets. Many believe future expeditions could uncover entire submerged temples, intricately detailed carvings, and perhaps even inscriptions that might explain who built these ancient sanctuaries and what led to their disappearance. For now, the shore temple remains a solitary guardian at the meeting point of sea and land, silently keeping watch over the mysteries of its long-lost counterparts. The exposure of underwater ruins has forever altered our understanding of this site. What was once dismissed as myth has been substantiated by physical proof, affirming that the ocean conceals more of our collective past than we ever imagined. And Mahabalipuram is far from alone. Around the globe, more forgotten cities and sanctuaries lie beneath the waves, waiting to be rediscovered. The Infernal Codex, unraveling the secrets of the Devil's Manuscript. In a quiet library nestled within the Czech Republic lies an ancient tome, colossal in form and enigmatic in nature, so much so that folklore claims its creation was aided by the devil himself. This enormous manuscript, famously known as the Devil's Bible, possesses such a grand scale and peculiar content that for generations, people have speculated that no mortal could have authored it unaided. Its name, the Codex Gigas. The Codex Gigas is a medieval manuscript unlike any other. Standing nearly 3 feet in height and tipping the scales at more than 165 pounds, it is bound in leather and wooden boards. But it isn't only its massive proportions that intrigue. The manuscript contains an entire Latin Bible, historical chronicles, medicinal advice, and detailed rituals for exorcisms, all penned with astonishing uniformity, without variation in handwriting across its pages. At its very core, the Codex holds something far more chilling, a full-page illustration of the devil himself. This sinister image fuels the manuscript's ominous reputation. Scholars trace its origin to the early 1200s, most likely within a Benedictine monastery located in present-day Czech Republic. But the identity of the scribe and the motive behind its creation remain an enduring mystery. The most captivating legend linked to the Codex tells of a monk who committed a dreadful transgression. As punishment, he was condemned to be bricked alive, left to perish in utter solitude. In a desperate attempt to avoid such a fate, he vowed to produce the most grandiose book the world had ever seen, one that praised God and encapsulated all of human knowledge. And he promised to do it all in a single night. Faced with the impossibility of the task, the monk allegedly sought help from the only entity capable of intervening, the devil. According to the tale, he traded his soul for the manuscript's completion. By dawn, the Codex was complete, flawlessly inscribed, and artistically pristine. As a testament to their pact, the monks supposedly devoted an entire page to a haunting portrayal of the devil. Is there any factual substance behind this eerie tale? One of the most puzzling aspects of the Codex Gigas is its impeccable consistency. Every page appears to be written by the same hand. Experts note no variations in script, no evidence of pauses, and no visible changes in ink or writing style. By modern calculation, such a manuscript should have required 25 to 30 years to complete. Yet, the flawless continuity suggests otherwise, raising the question, how could a single person have done this so precisely? The manuscript's content deepens the enigma. Alongside the scriptures are texts on forbidden practices, detailed demonological knowledge, medical treatments, and exorcism procedures. The blend of sacred doctrine and arcane subject matter points to motivations beyond mere religious piety. The devilish portrait only intensifies its mystery. The image is unorthodox for its time, portraying Satan crouched, with talon-like fingers, a snake-like tongue, and burning red eyes. Some interpret this illustration as bearing a supernatural presence, while others believe it served as a warning from the monk, a depiction of the cost he bore. If not by supernatural means, then how did a lone individual manage this Herculean task? Some researchers posit that the author may have suffered from hypergraphia, a rare condition characterized by an overwhelming compulsion to write. It's possible that the scribe lived in prolonged seclusion, devoting his existence entirely to this manuscript. Another hypothesis proposes that the codex was a collaborative effort, disguised to appear as the work of a single person. Yet there exists no concrete evidence of multiple contributors. The manuscript shows no shifts in writing, no changes in ink, and no signs of correction or alteration. Thus, many believe the original monk may indeed have labored in solitude, possibly under the influence of an unknown driving force. The Devil's Bible has also endured a cursed history. Over the centuries, it has been plundered, relocated, and transported across various lands. At one point, it resided in the Royal Library of Sweden, where it narrowly survived a devastating fire. During the blaze in the 17th century, it was reportedly thrown from a window to save it from destruction. The book landed relatively unscathed, while much of the surrounding library was lost to the flames. This incident added to its eerie reputation, with some believing it to be under supernatural protection. Today, the Codex Gigas resides under careful preservation in Sweden's National Library. Scholars continue to study its intricate pages, yet its full story remains elusive. Who was its true author? How was it completed? And why did its creator dedicate an entire page to the devil? The Longyu Caves, ancient underground mystery with no known builders, a riddle just as confounding, though not buried within highlands, lies hidden underground. Deep within China's Zhejiang province rests an astonishing network of vast subterranean chambers skillfully hewn from stone. Strangely, no historical documentation acknowledges their origin. No instruments have been recovered, and their intended purpose remains entirely unclear. These are the enigmatic Longyu Caves. Concealed beneath the undulating landscapes of Zhejiang, the Longyu Caves stand as one of the most mystifying archaeological findings in recorded history. Unlike the naturally formed limestone caverns abundant across China, these structures were clearly human-made. They consist of enormous underground rooms shaped with remarkable accuracy, decorated with elaborate motifs, and crafted with an engineering finesse that challenges reason. Their strangeness deepens. No archival texts describe their construction. No blueprints, no tool remnants, and no inscriptions have ever been found. Nothing at all. It's as if a civilization engineered them in secrecy and obliterated all proof of their existence and intent. Even today, their creators, methods, and motives remain a complete enigma. The discovery of these chambers happened by chance. In 1992, a local villager, puzzled by numerous stagnant water pools throughout his village, chose to drain one. As the water disappeared, what emerged stunned him. Enormous smooth-walled hollows stretching down into the earth. He had never witnessed anything like it. Prompted by curiosity, other locals began draining additional pools, only to find more chambers below. What they revealed was a sprawling underground network spanning approximately 30,000 square meters. Each hall was carefully excavated from solid sandstone. To grasp their magnitude, when combined, the total area equals that of about 4 full-sized football fields. The ceilings reach astonishing heights of nearly 30 meters, around 98 feet, upheld by symmetrically spaced stone pillars. Every wall is adorned with a consistent chiseled texture, too uniform and precise to be the work of primitive hand tools. What truly amplifies the mystery of Longyu is the monumental effort their construction must have required. Experts estimate that almost 1 million cubic meters of rock needed to be removed to form the caverns. Using ancient Chinese tools, this feat would have necessitated thousands of laborers working tirelessly over many years, perhaps even decades. And yet, for all their sophistication, no tools or building materials have ever turned up. There's no trace of laborers, no interrupted carving stages, and no leftover stone debris from the excavation. So where did all that quarried stone go? How was it transported? And why do these chambers appear so pristine, as though they were deserted immediately after completion? Adding to their intrigue, the layout of the caves isn't haphazard. Each room aligns with intention, suggesting part of a greater, interconnected design. Some theorists think they served as military facilities, storage spaces, or secret meeting spots for a mysterious group. Others propose ceremonial or spiritual uses linked to an ancient, long-lost belief system. Some even argue they were grand subterranean homes or halls for a forgotten ruling class. Yet, in the absence of relics, texts, or signs of occupation, these ideas remain speculative. A striking feature of the Longyu Caves is their enduring strength. Estimated to be over 2,000 years old, possibly dating back to the Qin dynasty of the 3rd century BCE, the structures show no signs of erosion or cave-ins. Unlike many ancient sites that crumble over time, these caves remain astonishingly well preserved, as if built to endure forever. The precision evident in their formation suggests knowledge of architectural techniques that seemingly exceeded the capabilities of the time. Some have even likened them to present-day underground shelters, able to resist natural calamities, seismic forces, and possibly hostile threats. But if they were designed for defense, what dangers were they guarding against? Another detail that fuels speculation is the consistent pattern of chisel marks spread throughout the caves. These carvings appear identical in every chamber, lining walls, ceilings, and pillars in a symmetrical, possibly ornamental manner. The accuracy hints at a sophisticated construction process, potentially involving a forgotten or unknown technology. Certain researchers hypothesize that these markings weren't made with conventional tools, but rather through advanced techniques, perhaps even with a lost mechanical device. Some compare them to other ancient megalithic sites worldwide, where civilizations separated by geography achieved similarly inexplicable feats. A few more imaginative theories propose that the caves were sculpted using sound frequencies or vibrational energies that softened the rock, allowing easier excavation. Though this may sound implausible, scientific experiments have shown that sound can influence material integrity. Could the builders of Longyu have possessed ancient knowledge now lost to us? Others believe the caves may have deliberately held water, possibly functioning as reservoirs or reflective basins for astronomical purposes. Some floors include sunken channels, suggesting water movement, yet no irrigation system has been discovered. Were the caves intended to be submerged? And if so, to what end? Despite multiple excavations, archaeologists remain bewildered. No bones, pottery, scripts, or identifying relics have surfaced to connect the caves with any known civilization or function. The absence of historical records is particularly puzzling, given China's extensive tradition of detailed documentation. For such a colossal construction effort, one would expect some kind of reference. Yet none exists. As the puzzle grows deeper, so does public intrigue. Some believe the key lies within unexplored sections, hidden chambers yet to be unearthed or sealed passages buried within surrounding hills. If additional rooms are found, they might finally reveal who built Longyu and why. A few archaeologists advocate scanning the region with ground-penetrating radar to locate more subterranean structures. Such discoveries could potentially unravel the mystery. But for now, the Longyu Caves remain a hushed riddle, built with masterful precision by unknown hands, and their creators swallowed by the sands of time. The Rohong Codex, a cryptic chronicle beyond comprehension, an enigma that continues to baffle scholars, cryptographers, and linguists for over 2 centuries. The Rohong Codex stands as one of history's most perplexing unsolved mysteries. This manuscript, surfaced in Hungary in the early 19th century, contains a script that matches no known language, accompanied by illustrations that blend diverse religious iconography. Weird history facts. The Rohong Codex first came to light in 1838 when Count Gus Bathany donated it, along with his entire library, to the Hungarian Academy of Sciences. The manuscript, named after the town of Rohank, now Recknitz, Austria, had been part of his family's collection, but its prior history remains unknown. The codex comprises 448 pages, each filled with mysterious symbols and accompanied by 87 illustrations depicting religious scenes, battles, and cityscapes. Amusing Planet. The text is written from right to left, featuring over 800 unique symbols, far exceeding the number found in any known alphabet. This abundance of characters has led researchers to speculate that the script might be a syllabary or logographic system, akin to Chinese characters, rather than an alphabet. Despite extensive analysis, including frequency studies and pattern recognition, no one has successfully deciphered the text. The codex's illustrations add another layer of complexity. They depict a mix of Christian, Islamic, and possibly Hindu symbols, such as crosses, crescents, and swastikas. This eclectic blend suggests a cultural environment where multiple religions coexisted or points to a deliberate attempt to create a universal religious narrative. Bulb. Numerous theories have been proposed regarding the codex's origin and purpose. Some believe it to be a religious manuscript from a secret Christian sect, given the presence of Christian iconography. Others suggest it represents a forgotten language or dialect, possibly from a small community that vanished long ago. A prevailing theory among Hungarian scholars is that the codex is an 18th century hoax, possibly created by Szmuel Literty, known for fabricating historical documents. However, no concrete evidence links him to the codex. In recent years, researchers have employed advanced techniques, including computer analysis and high-resolution imaging, to study the codex. Some have identified patterns suggesting the text might be a cipher or constructed language. Despite these efforts, the codex remains undeciphered. It is currently housed in the library of the Hungarian Academy of Sciences, accessible only with special permission, though a microfilm copy is available for study. Weird history facts. The Rohank Codex continues to intrigue and mystify. Whether it is a genuine artifact of a lost civilization, a complex cipher awaiting decryption, or an elaborate hoax, its true nature remains elusive. Until someone cracks its code, the Rohank Codex will stand as a testament to the enduring allure of the unknown. Costa Rica's enigmatic stone globes, the unsolved legacy of ancient builders. Sometimes, the remnants of past civilizations leave us not with answers, but with confounding puzzles. Among the lush jungles and age-old riverbanks of Costa Rica, dozens of massive, nearly flawless stone orbs rest partially submerged in the soil. These aren't crude rocks naturally shaped by erosion, they're clearly human-made, finely sculpted, and stunningly symmetrical. Some tip the scales at more than 15 tons, and yet, their origin, transportation, and purpose remain completely unknown. These perplexing creations, called the stone spheres of Costa Rica, have puzzled researchers and historians for close to 100 years. The tale of these mysterious spheres begins in the 1930s, when laborers from the United Fruit Company were clearing the Dicas Delta to make way for banana plantations. As they hacked through thick vegetation, they began uncovering enormous stone balls. Some were perfectly spherical, while others were slightly eroded, but all appeared oddly misplaced. Certain groups of spheres seemed to form deliberate arrangements, while others were scattered in isolation beneath centuries of sediment. At first, those who found them were baffled. Some believed they were natural oddities, while others speculated they held valuable contents. In their excitement, several spheres were destroyed with dynamite, only to reveal nothing but solid rock inside. No treasure, no relics, just dense stone. News of the discovery soon attracted archaeologists. These stone spheres were unlike anything previously found in Central America. They came in varying sizes, ranging from just a few inches to over 8 feet across. Many were sculpted so precisely they appeared geometrically flawless, as if measured with mathematical precision. What made their creation even more impressive was the material used, granodiorite, a tough igneous rock. This rock isn't naturally present in the locations where the spheres were found. That means the material had to be extracted from distant sites, shaped, and then transported, an effort demanding considerable expertise in tool use and engineering. So, who crafted them? A prevailing hypothesis credits the Dicas culture, an indigenous civilization that thrived in Costa Rica from around 700 to 1530 CE. The Dicas people were skilled in working metal, ceramics, and stone. However, nothing else in their archaeological legacy comes close to matching the scale or precision of these stone orbs. No writings or records have survived, and the civilization disappeared before European explorers arrived, leaving behind only these cryptic monuments. As for why they were made, there is no definitive answer. Some researchers believe the spheres acted as status markers, indicating the residences of elite individuals or tribal leaders. Others speculate they might have served astronomical functions, aligning with solar or stellar events. A few sphere alignments appear to support this theory, though without any written documentation, it's all guesswork. Other, less conventional ideas suggest the orbs were spiritual or ceremonial in nature, perhaps symbolizing the universe or the cycle of existence. Indigenous lore includes stories that describe these as thunderstones, sent by deities to guard the land. There are also those who believe the spheres were components of an ancient grid of ley lines, energy pathways said to be known and utilized by early civilizations. One particularly fascinating theory posits that the spheres were navigational tools, part of a primitive but sophisticated mapping system. They may have marked sacred locations, trade routes, or other important sites. This might explain why some are found in clusters and others in remote isolation. What deepens the enigma is the complete absence of carving tools or quarry sites nearby that could explain how the spheres were manufactured. Granodiorite is an extremely hard material. Even with modern equipment, crafting it into a perfect sphere would be incredibly labor-intensive. Some experts suggest the Dicas may have used controlled heating and cooling, applying fire, then water, to weaken the rock before carving it with stone tools. Even so, this still doesn't explain the extreme accuracy of the shapes. Transporting these massive objects presents another riddle. Several spheres have been found far from any known granodiorite sources. This indicates they were likely dragged, rolled, or moved using wooden sleds or platforms, without the benefit of wheels or draft animals. Hauling such colossal stones over rugged terrain would have required not only coordination, but a solid understanding of mechanical principles. Due to the lack of concrete explanations, increasingly speculative and sometimes outlandish theories have emerged. Some assert that the spheres were formed with extraterrestrial assistance using advanced, now lost technologies. Others propose that these are remnants of an unknown, long-extinct civilization that existed before the Dicas, leaving no other trace of itself. Although these fringe ideas are not accepted by mainstream scholars, they reflect just how mysterious these ancient artifacts remain. Over time, many of the spheres were displaced, relocated to museums, taken by private collectors, or moved by locals unaware of their cultural value. This displacement has hindered attempts to study their original positioning, adding yet another layer of ambiguity to their purpose. Today, several of the spheres that remain in situ are protected as UNESCO World Heritage Sites. Still, many have been irreparably damaged or lost entirely. Despite decades of investigation, the true story behind the stone spheres of Costa Rica continues to elude us. Were they symbols of authority, celestial instruments, territorial markers, or something we've yet to even imagine? We may never arrive at a conclusive answer, but what is undeniable is the extraordinary craftsmanship and ingenuity they reflect, qualities that challenge our assumptions about the technological limits of ancient cultures. And these spheres are far from alone in the world of unexplained ruins. All over the globe, entire cities and religious monuments have vanished, submerged beneath oceans, buried under soil, or simply wiped from historical memory. One such mystery lives on in southeastern India. A centuries-old legend speaks of a magnificent collection of temples, so divine in their beauty that the gods themselves grew envious and condemned them to the sea. This is the tale of the 7 pagodas of Mahabalipuram, an epic of forgotten shrines, ancient brilliance, and a modern-day discovery that might just validate the myth. Mahabalipuram, also called Mamallapuram, is a coastal heritage town in the Indian state of Tamil Nadu, nestled beside the Bay of Bengal. Today, it is celebrated for its breathtaking rock-cut temples, intricate carvings, and giant monolithic structures that date back over 1,300 years. These masterpieces, constructed during the Pallava dynasty in the 7th and 8th centuries, stand out for their exquisite design and distinctive style. But for generations, local seafarers and explorers spoke of something beyond these visible wonders, a legendary submerged city. The enigma of Baalbek. Monoliths that defy reason. Baalbek is one of those enigmatic locations that seems to challenge all conventional logic. Tucked away in present-day Lebanon, this age-old complex is renowned for its colossal Roman sanctuaries erected to pay tribute to Jupiter, Venus, and Bacchus. However, as awe-inspiring as those temple remnants are, they rest atop something even more ancient and far more perplexing: the megalithic foundations of Baalbek. These foundational stones are staggeringly enormous. The most astonishing among them, often referred to as the trilithon, consists of 3 immense limestone slabs. Each one is estimated to weigh between 800 and 1,000 tons. They are stacked neatly, about 12 meters above the ground, without the use of mortar, appearing as though they were delicately set into place with precision. Even more bewildering is a monolithic block known as the Stone of the Pregnant Woman, an even bigger piece weighing approximately 1,200 tons. It still remains where it was hewn, in the quarry, seemingly prepared for transport, yet never relocated. The true mystery lies in how such a massive block was ever intended to be moved at all. Various hypotheses have been proposed to explain how these massive stones were hauled and arranged, ranging from scholarly to highly speculative. The commonly accepted explanation credits the Romans, known for their architectural brilliance. After all, they constructed aqueducts, amphitheaters, and roads that have lasted millennia. Some researchers propose that Roman engineers might have utilized an elaborate system of cranes, ropes, and vast human labor forces. But this line of reasoning faces a glaring issue. No Roman project on record has ever involved stones approaching this magnitude. None of their most complex undertakings have attempted anything near the scale of Baalbek's megaliths. This has led some to assert that the foundation predates Roman occupation altogether. Certain historical interpretations claim the original structure may have been erected by the Phoenicians, a seafaring civilization that once dominated the Mediterranean region. Others push the origins even further back, suggesting that it is pre-Phoenician, which would place it thousands of years earlier than traditional history acknowledges. If that's the case, we must ask, who were these mysterious builders? And more curiously, how did they accomplish such an incredible engineering feat? Some believe that the creators of Baalbek utilized a now-lost form of advanced construction technology. They speculate that these ancient builders might have mastered techniques involving leverage, mechanical advantage, or even the manipulation of sound waves to ease the movement of immense objects. Others propose that the methods were never recorded and have simply been erased by the passage of time. If we were to rediscover how they achieved this, what other ancient innovations might come to light? Then comes the most controversial theory of them all, that the Baalbek stones were positioned with assistance beyond human capability. Supporters of the ancient astronaut theory argue that the colossal size and flawless placement of the stones suggest extraterrestrial involvement. They hypothesize that Baalbek may have served as a landing site or technological hub for alien beings. These theories often point to the site's orientation, geometry, and monumental scale as possible evidence that the site served a higher purpose, one we've yet to comprehend. Though there is no concrete evidence to support this idea, it remains a widely discussed and debated possibility. What we do know for certain is this: no definitive method has ever been proven for how these stones were moved or assembled. Baalbek's megaliths continue to represent one of the most formidable construction enigmas in archaeological history. If a civilization long ago had the knowledge and ability to transport and install blocks of this size, it leads us to wonder, what else were they capable of? And what undiscovered secrets may still lie buried beneath the ruins? Still, Baalbek is just one of many ancient wonders that prompt us to question our understanding of the past. History is filled with baffling relics, artifacts, and structures that seemingly shouldn't exist, yet undeniably do. And up next, we explore one of the most hotly debated historical anomalies ever uncovered, a 16th century map that astonishingly appears to depict Antarctica without its ice. But before we dive into that mystery, a quick reminder. Although the visuals accompanying this video offer valuable insight, they aren't essential. Feel free to keep listening in the background as you go about your day, unwind, or drift off to sleep with these chilling unsolved mysteries. And if you enjoy content like this and want early access to future episodes, ad-free, plus exclusive stories, consider joining as a Patreon supporter. You'll find the link in the comments section below. The forgotten realm of Doggerland, Europe's sunken Atlantis. Throughout history, entire civilizations have vanished beneath the ocean, leaving only fragmented remnants and faint whispers of their existence. Beneath the waters of the North Sea, off Europe's coast, lies evidence of a far greater disappearance, a land that once linked Britain to the continent teeming with life, inhabited by thousands, until one fateful day it simply vanished. This is the tale of Doggerland, an ancient world lost to the tides of time and nature. A place where humans once flourished before nature wiped it away completely. Thousands of years ago, Earth was vastly different. A significant portion of the planet's water was trapped in enormous ice sheets, causing sea levels to be much lower, exposing vast expanses of land that are now submerged. Among these lost territories was Doggerland, an expansive stretch of terrain that once connected what is now Britain, the Netherlands, Denmark, and Germany. It wasn't just a barren wasteland. It was a thriving habitat, a place filled with rolling hills, wide rivers, and thick forests. For millennia, it was home to early humans, hunter-gatherers who followed migrating herds, fished in its waters, and made their homes in this now sunken world. The first hints of Doggerland's existence didn't emerge from historical texts or ancient scrolls, but from fishermen. For centuries, trawlers working in the North Sea have hauled up strange relics, tools, bones, and even ancient skulls, all dredged from the seabed. Among these remains were animals such as woolly mammoths and saber-toothed tigers, along with evidence that humans had once walked upon this submerged land. However, it wasn't until the 20th century that scientists began to grasp the enormity of what they were uncovering. Advances in sonar mapping and underwater archaeology revealed something astonishing: an entire prehistoric world, frozen in time, lying beneath the waves. Riverbeds, hills, and even the faint outlines of what might have been settlements began to emerge on sonar maps of the North Sea. What had once been a verdant and livable land was now a vast, barren ocean floor. But what happened to this lost world? Doggerland didn't vanish in an instant. It was a gradual process. As the Ice Age came to an end and global temperatures began to rise, glaciers melted, causing sea levels to gradually rise over thousands of years. Slowly, but surely the waters crept in, forcing the inhabitants to retreat. However, around 8,000 years ago, something catastrophic occurred, an event that sealed Doggerland's fate. This event, known as the Storegga Slide, was one of the largest underwater landslides ever recorded. Off the coast of Norway, a vast portion of the seabed collapsed, triggering a colossal tsunami. Gigantic waves, some towering over 30 feet high, crashed into Doggerland's coastline, engulfing villages, submerging forests, and sweeping entire communities away. What was once a sprawling land bridge connecting Britain and Europe was suddenly fragmented into islands before vanishing entirely beneath the sea. The North Sea is a hostile environment for archaeologists. Its waters are murky, and its seabed constantly shifts, making it a challenging place to explore. Nevertheless, over the years, new discoveries continue to emerge: human tools, fragments of wooden structures, and even ancient footprints preserved in the mud, offering a rare glimpse into the lives of Doggerland's final inhabitants. In 2018, researchers using advanced sonar technology detected what appeared to be evidence of ancient human settlements buried beneath layers of silt. Some even speculate that entire villages, and perhaps burial sites, could still be preserved beneath the seabed, awaiting discovery. Yet, the biggest question of all remains: could Doggerland ever be fully explored? Unlike other lost civilizations, this one is submerged beneath a shallow, yet treacherous sea where storms and shifting currents make underwater exploration incredibly difficult. Even with the most advanced technology, much of it remains out of reach, a ghostly landscape lying deep below the North Sea. The myth of Doggerland continues to grow. Some researchers suggest it could have inspired later legends, the notion of a sunken homeland, a once great civilization swallowed by the ocean. Could it be that stories of a lost land, passed down through generations, eventually gave rise to the myth of Atlantis? For now, Doggerland remains a land of mystery, a place we know existed but can never truly experience. The discovery of its lost civilization serves as a reminder of how much of our history is hidden beneath the waves, entire worlds long erased by time and nature. Yet sometimes, history is more than just what we can see, it's what we can't. The Piri-Reis map is a 16th century puzzle of the impossible. Throughout history, the Piri-Reis map has remained a perplexing enigma in the field of cartography. It was discovered in 1929 by German theologian Gustav Diemann in the archives of Istanbul's Topkapi Palace, where it had been hidden for centuries, buried in a forgotten pile of ancient documents. Upon closer inspection, it was revealed that this map was created by Piri-Reis, an Ottoman admiral, navigator, and cartographer, in the year 1513. At first glance, the map appeared to be a standard early 16th century world map, illustrating the coastlines of Europe, Africa, and the newly explored Americas. However, as researchers delved deeper into its details, it became evident that this was no ordinary map. What makes the Piri-Reis map so contentious is a particular landmass drawn along its southern edge. Many believe this landmass to represent Antarctica. The problem, however, lies in the fact that Antarctica was not officially discovered until 1820, over 300 years after the map was created. What makes this even more baffling is the depiction of Antarctica not as the frozen wasteland it is known to be today, but with intricate coastlines and topographical features, suggesting it was mapped when the land was free of ice. Modern geological research indicates that Antarctica may have been ice-free over 6,000 years ago, far before any civilization had the means for such precise map-making. How then could Piri-Reis have known about this? The admiral himself left some clues, which can be found in handwritten notes along the margins of the map. He claimed that his work was not original, but rather compiled from various older sources, some dating back to the era of Alexander the Great. He referenced maps taken from 20 ancient charts and 8 newer maps from Arab and Hindu sources. If these claims are accurate, It would imply that Piri Reis had access to knowledge passed down from civilizations far older than any previously known, perhaps from cultures with seafaring abilities that far exceeded what was thought possible at the time. Some theorists suggest that the Piri Reis map is evidence of a highly advanced and long-lost civilization, one that mapped the world in remarkable detail long before recorded history. They argue that fragments of this knowledge survived the fall of ancient societies and were later integrated into Renaissance-era maps by explorers and cartographers who were unaware of their true origins. This theory is bolstered by the fact that other medieval and Renaissance maps, such as the Arrhenius-Fuss map and the Zeno map, also depict landmasses that closely resemble Antarctica with surprising precision. Other scholars propose that the map has been misinterpreted. Some suggest that what appears to be Antarctica is, in fact, an incorrect portrayal of South America. Mapmakers of the 16th century often distorted coastlines due to the way they compiled their charts, which were based on scattered reports and second-hand information. As a result, some regions were stretched or compressed to fit the limited geographical knowledge of the time, which could explain the apparent presence of Antarctica on the map. Another possibility is that early sailors, possibly from Phoenician, Chinese, or even pre-Columbian European civilizations, traveled much farther than history acknowledges, documenting coastlines that were later lost to time. If this is true, the Piri Reis map could be a remnant of an ancient navigational tradition that has since disappeared, leaving behind only fleeting hints of its existence. Despite decades of analysis, no clear explanation has emerged. Did Piri Reis unknowingly preserve the last traces of a lost civilization, or is this simply a case of cartographic error, a misrepresentation of geography that only appears mysterious in hindsight? Whatever the truth may be, the Piri Reis map remains one of history's most captivating puzzles, a document that continues to challenge our understanding of the past. But the Piri Reis map isn't the only ancient mystery that questions what we thought we knew about history. Thousands of years before Piri Reis ever put ink to paper, an even greater enigma was unfolding.